Divine love and light to all of you. One basic question that lingers in the minds of all the seekers and the yogis are how long should the sadhana be, or how much of sadhana should one do to attain a certain level of awareness, or to attain a certain level of consciousness, or to attain some goal in spiritual life, or call it even to the ultimatum of self realization. So everybody goes by how much to do, because everything, we are all looking at the world always in a very quantitative measurement more than qualitative. So I wouldn't say again make it qualitative than quantitative. It's not on the quantity, it's not on the number of hours that you stretch, it is more on the quality. That's very true. The quality of sadhana. You do 15 minutes of quality sadhana is much more better than doing 2 hours of sadhana which has no quality in it. That is very true. Qualitatively, it does matter. But I would like to add one more thing into this. I have seen, according to my experiences and what I've observed in other yogis and other seekers, one thing which I would like to share with you, if you like to take this as a tip or guideline. It is about the conservation of energy. People do a lot of sadhana, definitely, but if you're not aware, if your awareness is not more on conserving of what you have achieved, then it's a big depletion. Many do not put their attention in those areas. Like you're doing sadhana, you're doing a lot of sadhana and gaining a lot of energies, and you're building up your prana and everything is there. That's good, and it might seem like a good achievement. You might do 2 hours in the morning or 3 hours in the morning and achieve a great, you're pumped up completely with prana and a lot of energy, and your vibe is very high. So you might feel it's good, it's a good achievement. But the same people again by the end of the day are drained out, and they have to again recharge next morning or the same evening. So the thing is actually the depletion that has happened because of being not aware. The depletion of energy is constantly happening throughout the day. So how much ever you achieve the energy and prana is not very important if you cannot conserve it. Conservation is very important. Conservation is one part which people do not give much attention to. So they just believe in doing sadhana in the morning, and then it's like a ritual. You do it and then next morning you're supposed to do. But how much are you spending that what you have gained? It's just like you fill up your car fuel tank or your bike fuel tank, and then it is supposed to give you a certain mileage. But if you are driving very recklessly, and if you are constantly throttling the the acceleration is there, and constantly gear changes are there, constantly braking is there, constant nudging is there, constant speed variations are there, then what will happen? Definitely it will affect your mileage. And rather than the person who's very mindfully driving or riding the vehicle, if they are going at a certain speed and they are maintaining one certain speed without much of braking and acceleration and idling, going more on idling speed and all that, they are taking care of the mileage, and they definitely get a good mileage. These might not be very important for drivers, but in extreme conditions they are mindful of such things. Like for example, if the petrol bunk is the gas station is long and you have very less fuel, and you got to manage now to reach that gas station, then people become very mindful. Then they are driving very in idle speed and trying to conserve energy. This is what I'm trying to say. Conservation of energy, it comes only when there is an emergency. Till then people are driving their vehicles very recklessly because they know anywhere there is a gas station, and they have enough time and energy again to keep recharging their vehicles. Similarly is with our lives also. So if we take it for granted and we say, okay, there's another sadhana, tomorrow we'll do, it is all about building up that prana. and building up of that energy, raising up of your consciousness. It is as good as, you raise your consciousness to a certain level, and then if you're not mindful, it goes down. Then again you pull up, and again it goes down. So if you're doing sadhana in the morning and you're feeling very connected and very vibrant and all that, and then you go out in the world, and if you're not aware, in a state of awareness, then suddenly you will see that it gets depleted, and then you find it very difficult to sustain yourself in that. So the conservation of energy, I'm trying to tell you this, is something that people are not careful about. Not careful again because they are not aware of it. If there is a certain level of awareness that is always there in the mind, or one is always aware of their or conscious of their vibrations and the conservation of it, they will be very careful with it. Are you getting it? So if awareness helps in this, awareness helps sustain this. And how is the depletion of energy happening? Depletion of energy happens with any activity. Like the more activity you give, because what happens with the prana and energy that you gather? What is it used for? It is used for your own system. For whatever, even for walking, for talking, for eating, for thinking, all these consumes energy. Even for thinking. The more you think, it consumes energy. So where does it pull from? It pulls from this prana that you have in stock, your fuel tank. The more you talk, if you talk a lot of talkative, talk in the sense, if it is very reckless talking, if it is very senseless, even if it is not to the point, and it is just a casual and gradual talking, that is why you see yogis are very silent. One of their silent thing is to conserve energy, because they don't want to deplete it and waste it on unfruitful things. They want to use that energy to be used for very useful things. So they avoid a lot of talk. They avoid anything that is excess. Like they will not run around simply, and they will just not walk around if there is no use. I mean to say, they will be very motionless. You will not find yogis very reckless and randomly moving and running around here and there. They are always quiet and calm in one place, and they are very steady. Again, it is conservation of energy, because the more you do activities of that sort, which is not fruitful. I mean, if you do activities which is for your daily work and all those things, it's fine. But which is not productive, if you avoid that, you are conserving energy. And how does this come? This comes from awareness, because yogi is always aware of what they're mindful of, what they're doing, everything that they speak, do, act, think. Even the thinking, if you just sit in one place and you do good sadhana, and then you come out and you think 1 hour randomly without having a filter, you will see by the end of 1 hour you are drained completely. What is draining you? You have not done any physical activity. You have just sat there and thought, worried or whatever. What has happened? The energy has been taken by the thoughts. And the more intensity the thoughts are, the more it gets depleted. Like for example, if the energy of the thoughts are very low and very depleting, very negative, it consumes more of energy, chunks of energy all together. So all that hard work that you're doing in meditation and through mindfulness, or through being aware of being conscious, and your breath work and all that. And so all these activities are helping you gain more of your prana and energies, but unmindful activities just depletes it off. So even worrying, if you're thinking a lot, it completely depletes you. So, and sleep is one thing again. It depletes. I mean, if you're not having proper sleep, if the sleep is not deep, it again depletes a lot of energy. So whatever energy you are gaining, if you are not a meditator, then you gain it by food. The energy that you gain is non-meditators is only and only by food. So your food and nutrition has to be very good in order for you to sustain, for all the body organs to get enough supplements, enough sustenance of energy, especially the brain. The brain needs maximum energy. Brain is the biggest organ that needs a lot of energy, and that comes from food. But meditators know how to enhance their brains because they are doing all these kriyas, they are doing all the yogic meditations, especially the prana kriyas and all. They are powerful enough to nourish the brain and other organs also. But brain is one major part that needs a lot of energy, and that gets very easily depleted when there is lack of sleep. The first organ that will be affected is the brain when there is lack of sleep, because deep sleep rejuvenates the brain, deep sleep nourishes the brain, and it supplies more of energy during your deep sleep. So that's how the system has been made by nature. So sleep also, if it is not very deep, it will affect, and sleep is affected again by unmindful living. If you are not aware of what you are doing just before sleep, it will badly affect your sleep. I mean, 1 to 2 hours, if you are fidgeting with your mobiles, if you are watching movies, if you are watching any other stuff, or reading a lot just before sleep, it's not recommended. Because what happens is the mind becomes very active, and it takes some time for the mind to settle down. And a lot of activity keeps on happening in the brain, which doesn't allow you to sleep. And even if you sleep off also, it will not be a deep sleep, because the mind is conscious mind is again trying to be active there, and your body is asleep. Your body falls dead almost, but your mind is active. So it is a very crazy thing to happen. And continuously, if this keeps on happening, it will take a big depletion of your brain energy, and it will affect your health very badly. So that has to be very careful. Again, conservation of energy. This is conservation of energy. So unmindful living causes this. Nature has designed everything to give you good supply time to time, but it is us, due to our unmindful activity, that we bring on all these problems. And morning, if you are gotten up not very fresh, that means your body has not got enough supply. It has not been rejuvenated properly, and there is no supply to the organs. So meditators, they will immediately rectify it, because they can pull in prana through their prana kriyas, through their breath work, and through meditations. It can be compensated. But if you are a non-meditator, then it can be very dangerous, because you are losing energy, and complete dependence is now on food. So then your food intake has to be in that manner. So if there is no proper energy from there, it will create a lot of other issues. Health is affected by these things only: mental health and physical health and emotional health. So all these things are very important. This happens with a mindful living, what is called conscious living, or it happens with a life of awareness. When you live in awareness, from morning to evening, you are aware of each and everything that you do, each and everything that you eat. You know very well what goes into your body. You choose, you eat very specifically, because you don't want to again deplete energy instead of gaining even unwanted stuff that your body holds on as fats and all that stuff. So this is all about mindful stuff and conservation of energy. Anything in nature doesn't have a permanent solution. It does not be, it is not going to be everlasting with you. Anything that comes will go. Like the fuel is filled in the fuel tank, it has to get depleted today or tomorrow. But how long can you pull with it is the question. The food that you eat in the morning or in the afternoon, your body can sustain it for a certain period of time, but then again it needs a recharge of food again, because that has got depleted, because it consumes. But again, it depends on how long can you go without food. That is why you see yogis can go for hours together or days together without food, because they have now utilized that energy to stretch into that. Whereas if you are unmindfully doing that, then you will need every couple of hours food. So everything, even your mobile, it has to be recharged. Little by little, it's getting off. The bytes are getting off. The plan that you have, every day the plans are getting depleted, and again it has to be recharged. So everything in nature, if you see, it is based on recharge. Everything is recharged. That is why the day and night cycle also. Daytime it is conservation, the depletion of energy keeps on happening, and night time is the rejuvenation or the recharging happening to everything on earth. Then again the whole day it goes on, but again it depends on how much you conserve. Even your bank balance, it depends on not on how much you are gaining. You might be earning even in lakhs or crores, but that is not a great deal if your spending, your expenses are again in lakhs and crores, because you are gaining again and you are losing also that much money. So there is bank balance is almost nil. So it doesn't matter how proud we feel as we are earning so much or doing so much. Same is with sadhana. There's no pride in, oh, I'm doing 3 hours of sadhana or I'm doing 4 hours of sadhana. Same is with, oh, I'm eating so much of nutritious food, this and that and all that. It is all about the intake. But what about the conservation? Because it has to be recharged again. So the secret of sustenance is in stretching everything. So, the bank balance that you sustain by become a miserly, conjuice. They have longer stretching. So you got to be conjuice again in everything. You are spending with your energies also. So if you are mindful, if you are aware all the time about conservation of energy and spend less of energy in non-futile activities, it will be conserved for your own good. And that is going to come for your own good, because we know that the more petrol you save or the diesel you save or gas you save, it's for your own good, it's for your own profit. The more money you save, it's for your own good. The more mobile, the less recharges that you have is for your own good. Similarly, the more prana you can conserve is for your own good. That will help in your evolution. Anything that is not conserved, if it is conserved again the yogis have different techniques also, because its conservation is not enough, because conserve, you keep it in your body, but then it has to be utilized also. There is a bank, there is a secret bank for yogis, which is the Agya Chakra. The prana is pulled up through the Sushumna all the time, from the lower chakras to the higher chakras. That is where the deposit happens. So these are very conscious activities of seekers. It should be. I mean, that's what's the main ingredient in the Pran Kriyas also, if you see what Gurudeva has taught. It is about pulling your energies all the time. Right now, even Chidakasha Gita, if you read, a lot of phrases are coming where Bhagavan is literally referring to pulling the breath upwards. He is talking about all the breath upwards. Everything is upwards. So it is again about the conservation of energy, because conservation is what, if you don't allow depletion, if the prana flows down, it goes into your sexual activities, it goes into your materialization of worldly desires, all the worldly desires, all the vasanas that you have, all the what do you call, you love food, you love all the activities of the world, you have desires for gaining fame, name, money, and all these things are downward pull. This is all the adhogati. It's called the adhogati. It's the downward pull of energy. So when the energy goes down, the prana goes down, then the materialization happens externally. You create a lot of things for your life. So where is the energy going? This is the same energy that you are utilizing for external creation. But for internal creation, for your internal evolution, if you want to use the same energy, then yogis have techniques to pull that energy up the Sushumna, through the Sushumna Nadi. It is the same energy is pulled from the Swadhisthana and Muladhara right up into the Agya Chakra, and that is where your bank is. So you store a lot of energy in your Agya Chakra. You don't allow the energy to get depleted. And what happens is, naturally, when such yogis do these kriyas, naturally they don't have a downward pull. They do not have desires to the external world. They might not live a life like other people who are engaged and enjoying all the worldly pleasures. A yogi will not do that. It is not that they are not doing it, because they have pulled up their prana up into their bank balances, bank stocks. So the prana is gone up. There is no prana left down for materialization. So there is no desire. This is one way to end desires also. The Chitakasha Gita talks about it. To attain desirelessness, it is by pulling urdhareta, urdhugati. The energy goes up. So in Patanjali Yoga Sutras, if you see, the asana that is recommended for this is the Tribandha. Tribandha is very powerful for pulling up I'm talking to people who are not into any particular path, who are very new. If you look into the Ashtanga Yoga or the Patanjali Yoga Sutras, you will find asanas, and one of the asanas is something called bandhas. Bandhas are locks. A certain lock is tied to your physical body. It comes in the asanas only. Whereas you put certain knots and then you utilize to channel energy where you want. So the Tribandha is the main in that. So you might want to slowly get into those things, or even channelize through your thoughts itself. It's possible even through your thoughts. If you read the Chitakasha Gita, you will get a lot of hints of how it is to be done. There I have explained in the insights in detail, in depth. Bhagavan has talked just 1 or 2 lines or 3 lines, but then I have put insights into what it has relevance to the Ashtanga Yoga, because Bhagavan is talking more about the Ashtanga Yoga, the Raj Yoga that is there. So he is more favorable towards that. So I have tried to explain those methods in that manner. So those who are new to this path, you can definitely refer to that. And if you are able to get a able guru, Kundalini Guru or Shaktipat Guru, you can definitely take their guidance, because it is very powerful to be trained under the guidance of a guru. Do not try to do these things just without casually. There are some techniques which you can do simply through breath work or through these asanas and bandhas, but more of it in detail you need to have a guru. It's always safer to do, because it's a play of energy, because these are very powerful energies. The Kundalini energies are very powerful. You have to be very careful with it. Anyways, those are all on the depths, but what I was trying to tell you in this video particularly is not about gaining more prana or doing more of sadhana. It is about how you conserve these energies and save these energies. So you save a lot of energy by not doing any non-productive work or thoughts. So any kind of worries, any kind of too much of thinking and unwanted thinking, unwanted talking, unwanted eating, unwanted physical activities, too much of activity, too much of excitement, both causes depletion. Too much of excitement also causes, too much overwhelming excitement also depletes energy, and too much of depression, the other opposite of it. Too much of worries, too much of depression also depletes the energies, both ways. So what conserves energy is samyata, what the neutral, the balance of between both, neither too much there or too much low also. It is a balance. Samyak, that is why Gurudev always talks about Samyak Jivan, Samyak Bhujan. Everything he talks about Samyak. It is the middle path. So if we are just mindful and aware of these things, it should help a lot. So I hope this video will make you more aware. I'm coming out with more and more such tips and guidelines, whichever I can think of me myself having on my path, or watching the other yogis and people on the path and learning from them. I'll be regularly sharing these things, but request that if you really want to make use of these videos, then you be very mindful, be aware of these videos and put it to use in a very productive way, then rather than just listening and enjoying. Because I told you, this is if you are just enjoying the videos and liking it and saying wow, then it is just a spiritual masala. Like you watch a movie and you say wow, and you go off. You might rate it and go off, that's all, but it has been of no benefit to you. So again, being on the field of awareness, I'm telling you, watch these videos with awareness, spend your time in awareness, contemplate on these, reflect on these, inculcate these, and bring it into your daily practice, and you'll see wonders. And then you get back to me and do give me your comments and your responses on how these things are helping. Not just the video might be good enough, but as you inculcate it and as you practice it, do let me know, because I'm very sure it brings a lot of good results. I've utilized it myself, and I'm talking from experience. I'm not reading any books and telling you this. So it will help if you want to help yourself by becoming more and more aware of such things which normally the people take it for granted. And I always share with you things which are taken for granted, which people don't mind, and छोटे मोटे जाने दो, चलता है, it's like नहीं चलता है. If you catch that, there is a lot of thing in that. So with this, I hope this video helps you. Do put in your comments and your messages on this video, and share it with the people whom you feel. If you feel guided to share this video, please share it with them. If you feel guided to ask anything, please do so. If you feel guided to like, please do so. Lots of divine love and light to you all.